Hey everyone, I'm Brent Skarkey from the State Chamber. It's an election year, and we're excited to kick off a brand new interview series on OklahomaDecides.com. The site, the best way to stay up to date with the latest candidate developments in our state. The State Chamber's Chad Warmington going one-on-one with statewide office candidates to give the business community and Oklahomans a great look at what the men and women who are running for office are all about. The interview does not constitute an endorsement from the State Chamber. It's just a place where they can be heard and voters can learn more.
Well, we're excited to be here with Representative Brad Boles. Brad, thanks for coming in and spending some time with us.
Always good seeing you.
It's good to see you too. It's good that we're not meeting on the fantasy football field where we battled it out this season.
That's probably better for me than you. So.
Well, Brad, we're excited. Brad currently represents District 51 in the Oklahoma House of Representatives. He's been there since 2018. Currently chairs the House Energy Committee, the House Energy and Natural Resources Oversight Committee. And Brad grew up in his family's manufacturing business, and he helped grow it from 100 to nearly 500 employees before they sold it to a Fortune 500 company. So Brad has significant experience in the industry. He also did a tour of duty as the mayor of Marlow.
I did.
Which might be a harder job than being the state representative or the corporation.
Well, I'll tell you, I think the toughest job I had was not even mayor. It was school board member.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
That was the toughest.
I bet. So, yeah, school board member, former president of the Marlow Chamber of Commerce, and now seeking the office of corporation commissioner. So we're really excited to talk to you today about why you're running and bringing your experience to Oklahoma. So real high level, first question is, what's your vision for Oklahoma that you hope to execute through the Corporation Commission on?
Well, that's a great question. And, I think a corporation commission plays a vital role in really everyone's lives. And, for me personally, I think we're an oil and gas state. And I think it's important to have someone there that's going to protect the oil and gas industry, support them. And, we got to have fair regulations so it's a fair playing field for everyone. But also, we've seen across the country where the oil and gas industry is getting attacked. And we want to make sure that the industry knows here in Oklahoma, you're at home, and we're going to support you and take care of you.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, I think you're uniquely positioned to have a really great, from your position in the House. Energy is such a huge opportunity for Oklahoma, and I think we know, and I know that we know that it's such a distinguishing opportunity and an advantage for Oklahoma to really leverage these energy resources we have. Give us kind of a flavor for kind of how that vision, your vision for Oklahoma, is going to be powered by Oklahoma energy. Give me some thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, Chad, what is it? 1 in 5 jobs in Oklahoma are tied to the oil and gas industry. So I think that's one thing. It's a huge part of our state revenue for the state budget, and which funds all the things we want to do in Oklahoma, whether it's education, roads and bridges, all of these, so healthcare. And so I think it's important that we stay an energy state, and we have policies in place that, I believe in the free market, and I think government needs to get out of the way. We set a pro-business atmosphere and let the free market take it from there versus government choose winners and losers. And so at the Corporation Commission, that's what I want to do, is make sure that we continue that tradition. And I think Oklahoma is well positioned. If you look at other states in the country, energy is now becoming a really hot topic. And for economic development, in the past, when companies wanted to locate somewhere, energy may not be the top 2 or 3 things they ask about, but now it's one of the top. Hey, do you have abundant resources of energy, and how reliable are those energy sources? And I think Oklahoma is well positioned for that.
Agreed. You may have heard us talk a lot about our new initiative, which is Oklahoma Competes. And essentially what we're really looking at is kind of a new way for us to look at our state's competitiveness. How are we competing both regionally and nationally? Give us your view on how does the Office of Corporation Commission contribute to Oklahoma's long-term economic competitiveness?
That's a good question. I think, number one, we have one of the lowest utility costs in the whole country. And that's helped us with the low cost of living, cost of doing business. And I think Oklahoma is ranked one of the lowest cost of doing business states in the whole country. And so that's important for the businesses that we have here today, but also for bringing new businesses here. If we can bring in more economic development, more businesses, get more taxpayers, we can have lower taxes if we have more taxpayers. And I think we've seen that across the country where the states that increase tax rates, they think they're bringing in more revenue, but at the end of the day, they actually lose revenue. Where Oklahoma, we've lowered our taxes, And despite lowering our taxes, we've had increased revenues. And so I think that's an important, now the commission, obviously, we don't do tax policy, but I do think we have an important 2/3 of our industry in Oklahoma touch the Corporation Commission somehow, whether it's through regulation, permitting, licensing. And so I think we got to be pro-business. We got to be quick. We got to react. The market moves fast, and we got to make sure the commission reacts to the market, and that's that speed. But also have common sense. I think it's important having people that's on the commission that's made payroll, and that whenever we're regulating these businesses, it's not just a business. Like there's people behind that business, and how we do things impact them. And so we got to be on top of our game. We be quick, just like we are in the market. I'm a private business guy, and if I don't react to customers' needs quick, I get fired. And so I think in government we need to have the same approach. Quick permitting. If we have issues, get back with the customer, get back with the industry and say, hey, you didn't meet compliance here and here and here, and maybe help them get into compliance versus be an agency that looks to punish or be punitive. And because at the end of the day, if we work with industry and they're successful, our state's successful, and everyone wins.
That's right. It's almost like you were reading ahead of my cards, and I loved how you touched on a really important perspective that you just talked about is free enterprise and free markets. So give me a perspective from this office as commissioner. How do you personally define free enterprise, and where should government draw the line between setting fair rules and getting in the way of markets? So kind of maybe your personal thought on that, and then how through the Corporation Commission do you kind of balance your view of free enterprise with your role as a commissioner?
Well, I think, we got to have I think stability is important. I'm a business person. I know you are too. Businesses want a stable environment. If you have a stable environment, it's predictable, you can plan for it, you can budget around it. I think volatility is never good for industry. And so having a stable, predictable regulatory environment is important. And set, pro-business atmosphere, and then let the businesses take it from there. And, a lot of times people want government to pick winners and losers and that kind of thing. I think that ends up, you don't want government doing that, right? We want the free market to pick winners and losers, and the market will adapt, and businesses will adapt with that.
That's right.
We just don't want government getting in the way and causing more problems. We've seen that in other states, like California, New York, where the government kind of strong arms industry, and at the end of the day, a lot of the industries just say, hey, we'll leave, we'll go somewhere else. Because I think it's important to know that industry does not have to choose Oklahoma. There's other opportunities out there. So what are we doing to make sure we attract economic development investments here in our state? And because they have options.
Yeah, amen. Preach. And I mean, I think we say it all the time, capital flees a hostile market, right? It flees uncertainty. It's going to find a place where it knows the rules of the game, and they're going to be consistent. You as a business leader have had to make those decisions as well, right? And so, I loved what you said, and I think this is one of the things that we at the Chamber always are looking for is you love it when people have signed the front of the check, not just the back of the check, because you're really putting your money to work, and you're investing in Oklahoma and in your businesses. And so, that's the experience you're bringing with you to the Corporation Commission.
I think so, and out of the titles you mentioned earlier, I think one of the most important is I'm a former board member of the State Chamber,
right?
And so I think what your organization does is very important in Oklahoma, and I appreciate all that you and your members do.
Yeah, give us some as you've been thinking about running for this office, and you've been watching the Corporation Commission. Are there some specific, maybe systematic changes you'd like to see the OCC make, and to improve efficiencies, make sure permits are issued quickly? Have you been given that some thought about some areas, hey, I'm going to go focus on these things?
Yeah, so one good thing about a statewide campaign is you go around and speak to a lot of different groups all across Oklahoma. And some of the things I've heard, and it's not knocking the current people there now, the commissioners, I think it's more at the staff level, but I've heard from a lot of others about the, maybe not the best customer service or the best response times, or people call and they don't get answers for days or weeks. And I think we got to do a better job at that, customer service, and at the end of the day, the taxpayers are our customer. And we got to treat them like you do in the private sector, where if you have a customer calling, you don't get back to them for a week, they're probably not a customer very long.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, at the commission, we have a monopoly. They have to call us. But we need to not take advantage of that and try to get responses back quick. And So that's one thing. Permitting reform, I think, is important as far as expedite permits. And obviously, we got to review them and make sure that we got public safety concerns, environmental concerns we got to look at. But whatever we can do to speed that up, I think is important. And I've heard from people also with that protest. I know sometimes it seems like there's a big overload burden of a protest at the docket for the oil and gas industry. And at the end of the day, if it takes companies too long to get approvals, it's more risky of an investment, and we may lose those companies to other states that are quicker. And so we want to make sure we're not doing that in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think you've got an interesting challenge is you got to make sure that you have a system where protests can be filed and you can remedy those disputes, but you can't, what you don't want them to do is just be used as a punitive tool. And that's a tough balance for you, and I'm sure you've been thinking about how you would kind of navigate that.
And I know, I've talked to the commissioners, I know they've made some improvements on that, they made some changes, and we'll see how those work, but that's something that I definitely want to keep an eye on, and if it's not resolved by the time I get there, hopefully we can make it better.
Yeah. You also touched on before, and I think what's so exciting, I think, for the future of the commission right now is the unbelievable opportunities that Oklahoma has in front of it from economic development because of our affordable, reliable, abundant energy resources. When you start thinking about how the regulatory scheme can sometimes hinder the ability to get that power online quicker in more of a specific electric case. Give me your idea on how we balance, protecting affordability, but also speeding up the ability to get power delivered, to deliver our energy resources. It's going to be a tough challenge for the commission to navigate. Have you been given some thought on how you could attack that problem and make sure that Oklahoma takes advantage of these huge opportunities that we have?
Yeah, that's a great point. Last year we had a bill called Behind the Meter. I was the author of that bill, and basically it allows industry to come here on their own and put their own power generation on site. This is more of the larger industrial customers and big users of power. But that's one way is let private industry make their own investments, and they can do it quicker.
Yeah.
And they don't have to go to the Southwest Power Pool queue. I just saw an article from the Southwest Power Pool this past week where they're speeding up their expedited reviews. It used to be 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years, to now 90 days. I think that's a big improvement, and I think that'll help as well. But, as you mentioned, Oklahoma's well positioned. We got abundance natural gas resources in Oklahoma. It's reliable, it's economical, and I think as these large industrial customers are onshoring, and also even data centers, economic development opportunities, Oklahoma's going to be well positioned to take advantage of that, and really it's going to be great for natural gas producers as well.
Yeah, and I think it's just a massive economic development opportunity. Give me a little bit of take on this too. As part of the charge of the Corporation Commission too, is we've got these abundant resources. But sometimes Oklahoma has been really good at letting people come and we export the resources out. We don't really value add and build industry around that. I know we've been doing corporation commissions for years. I've been involved with corporation commissioners forever. How do you bring kind of an economic development framework to not just taking our natural resources and turning them into power, but also building industries around them so that we benefit not just from the ability to produce reliable, clean, affordable power, but they also build industries. Have you been given that any thought as well?
Yeah, so what is it? I think 20% of the power we generate in Oklahoma gets exported out of state, which is great because it gives us a market to take our products to, but wouldn't we rather keep that here and create economic development around that power resources that we're sending to other states? And so I think that's a great opportunity. And even with, we're looking at going from, I think we have about 9 gigawatts of power in Oklahoma. That's taken 100 years to get to 9 gigawatts, and we're looking to double that in the next 5 to 10 years. And so how do we get from point A to point B?
Yeah.
Well, that's a great challenge, but a great opportunity for Oklahoma, because not many states have that opportunity, the resources to do it. And I think we do. And really, whenever companies come to Oklahoma, we can give them, they can know, hey, we got plenty of abundant resources. We got a low economic cost of utilities and low tax environment, pro-business atmosphere. I mean, I really think Oklahoma wins in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, agreed. And you couldn't have done a better sales job if you tried. On our Oklahoma Competes initiatives, it essentially says exactly what you're saying, which is we are a great place to do business. Now let's really leverage the resources we have to be more innovative and grow our economy. And kind of maybe just end with that, and then if there's something we didn't cover that you want to make sure, but you got to be excited about the future of the potential of Oklahoma, and you're in an interesting role where you got to balance the regulatory process to make sure we do it right with all these great opportunities. And you can just end on that.
Yeah, we want to do things the right way in Oklahoma, and we do care about the environment. We care about public safety. That's all important. And we want a level playing field, right? We got to have rules that everyone abides by, because if we have bad actors, it's not fair for the people that try to do things the right way. So I think that's important. But I have 2 kids, Chad. I know you have kids. My goal is when our kids graduate from high school or college or whatever they do, whatever their career path is, I want them to know they can do anything they want to do right here in Oklahoma. We don't need to go to Dallas, don't have to go to Kansas City. They can stay right here and have every opportunity in their careers. And I think that's what most people want. They want their kids and grandkids to have opportunities right here in our state. When I graduated from college 25 years ago, a lot of people moved out of state, and that's where the opportunities were. But it's pretty cool to see right now, Oklahoma is becoming that place. And my goal is whatever I can do, if I can be just a small part of making that happen, and be a part of the team. And we've got a lot of good people that are trying to accomplish that. I know you guys are here at the Chamber as well. But I am very optimistic about our future in Oklahoma.
Well, I don't think we could have ended on a better note than that. I want to thank you for your willingness to serve in the House, serve as mayor, serve in the school board, serve in the House, and for stepping up and being willing to continue that public service and putting your name on the ballot. Thank you for stepping up for Oklahoma. Appreciate you making that sacrifice for your family and your personal time and being willing to say, I'll continue to serve if you want me. Thanks for doing that.
Well, thank you, Chad. Appreciate you having me.
Great to visit with you.
Thank you.